Hi, everybody. Welcome to Protecting Your Accounts and Understanding Digital Hygiene and Multi-factor Authentication. I am Matt Robinson.
And I am Mike Vanny. And this one is really important because a lot of people don't do this.
No, they don't even really know what digital hygiene means.
Yeah, exactly. And the number of folks that have, multiple accounts just with the same password, the same basic password, it's tough. And it's tough out there for people too, because, we're going to get into it a little bit here, but the complexity requirements and all the other things that are put on you as an end user, it's tough, especially when you're juggling, 10, 15, 20 accounts out there at any given time.
Mm-hmm, that's right. That's referred to as password fatigue, which is something we'll get into. Okay, so first off, this is really fun. If you go to this website, and you can just type it into your browser, haveibeenpwned.com. It will let you know if your email address has been involved in any leaks or hacks over the past, I think it's like 12 years. And it will show you the company or website that has leaked your information. And it's just as a good exercise to see how exposed you have been over the course of your digital life. The older your username or your email account is, the chances are the more leaks you've been involved in.
This is a really good one for you to keep a very close eye on as well over time, because there's new breaches and new compromises literally every single day.
That's right. Yep. And they're happening constantly. And so the key to this is looking at the dates that the leaks have happened and making sure that you are changing your password or that your password has been updated since that leak happened. Because chances are they could have scraped that information 2 years ago and then just leaked it last year. So as long as you've changed your password between now and last year, you should be protected. There's also a feature in here where if you type in your password, any password that you have, it will let you know if it's been included in any leaks as well. And if it has, don't use that password anymore ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Change it.
That's right. Change it completely.
You don't have to drastically change it, right? Like if your password is purple01, you can change it to purple02 and it is technically changed. We'd recommend a full change, but I understand for some people.
Absolutely.
It should just be different.
Yes, you definitely. Yeah, you want to. Yeah, make sure it's different in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so the term digital hygiene refers to making sure that you have strong passwords and that you use two-factor authentication and that you're very wary of public Wi-Fi. And so when we say strong passwords, we mean long and complex. Complex is important, long, not necessarily. As long as it's a complex, you can use different words in a string, like a phrase. And it can be random words like purple banana dog astronaut, as long as you remember what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Sentences are really good for passwords as well, right? I have a blue water bottle, 1, 2, 3 exclamation. These are very strong passwords. They're easy for you to remember. They also allow you to have different passwords for different accounts, right? If you shop at Walmart, your Walmart account password could be, my favorite thing to buy at Walmart is chocolate. Yes, it's a super long password, but it's also something that you won't forget either. And it's very specific to your account in this case.
That's right. These are called passphrases, which are much more secure than passwords. Using two-factor authentication. So when we talk about two-factor authentication, basically it's one more step in the sign-in process that will confirm your identity. And so there's different ways to do this, and it has been around for a long time. Previously, two-factor authentication looked like security phrases and words about like what is your auntie's maiden name, those types of things. But now it's a bit more sophisticated in the way that they authenticate is usually by an app, or they'll send you a text message to your phone. Those types of authentication processes will keep your account safe even if somebody knows your username and password, they still won't be able to get into your account.
Yeah, two-factor authentication can be likened to something like if you're being ID'd at a store for alcohol or something. It's a confirmation that you are who you say you are.
Yeah, it's the bouncer at the intro to the bar. They let you in when they confirm your identity. And be wary of public Wi-Fi. So this is really important because with all of our mobile devices these days, people are connecting whenever they can to the public Wi-Fi at airports or cafes, Starbucks, etc. If you are connecting to a public Wi-Fi account that doesn't have a password, you're potentially putting yourself at risk because it could potentially be what's called a man-in-the-middle attack. Would be somebody in that cafe might have a little device set up in a backpack, and they're putting out a broadcasting signal that looks or is named pretty similar to the Starbucks or the airport you're in, and you'll connect to it thinking it's the airport or the Starbucks specific Wi-Fi, and then they'll be able to pick up all the information in the middle that you're sending, which it can include potentially your login information and maybe even sometime banking data. So it's very important to do not connect to unsecured public Wi-Fis. Make sure that you're connecting with a password. Being mindful of your social media settings. So this includes a lot of information about you and your privacy settings. So you should limit the amount of personal information you share online. You don't want to put out your the school you went to when you were in elementary, or all of your friends lists, or who you're married to. Keep all that information close to the chest, and then people that are looking for this information won't be able to find it.
Yeah, oftentimes you'll find these being shared on the social media sites where it's like, let's tell a story about, the name of your first dog, the street that you grew up on, your mother's maiden name, and they have you put this in the form of like a joke or a image or a story that's shared amongst different members on the social site. And oftentimes these things are used to pull that information from you in an attempt to gather additional personal information in order to gain access to your accounts. So oftentimes it's better just not to interact with these things and move on with your day.
It's like a personal information Mad Lib.
Mm-hmm.
So regularly monitor your accounts. That includes bank statements. It would be good to pay for a credit report. Anything like that is very beneficial to protecting what's important to you. And using a virtual private network. So a VPN is basically a connection that is secure between your computer and the internet that basically has encrypted data in the middle, where it, like I said, that man-in-the-middle attack, the data that's being moved across the internet through that extra piece, they wouldn't be able to read because it would be encrypted, which is basically like locking it in a box, and then you send it over, and then the person who gets that information has the key only. And so, like I'd mentioned, there are many different VPN companies out there. Most of them are pretty reputable. It changes quite often depending on what scandal companies are having and who owns the private network. So I'm not going to give out a lot of recommendations here because it could be out of date pretty quickly. But a quick Google search will let you know which ones are legitimate. The important things to watch for when using and purchasing a subscription to a VPN is that they offer strong encryption and they have a no logs policy. That way they are very secure. So at the time, these were pretty reputable. ExpressVPN, Surfshark, and Private Internet Access. They might not be now, depending on what year you're watching this video. If it's 21, 24, who knows what it will be. But yeah, a quick Google search will let you know if they've been involved in any scandals or if they're still pretty valid.
There's always a lot of discussion taking place regarding these things. And so, yeah, searching it out is always the best thing. Just like Matt said, be mindful that that they've got a no logs policy, and that their encryption, that they're highly reputable. That's essentially what you're going for.
That's right. And a lot of times what might be good now might not be good in a month, because they might be sold to a private equity firm, and they want to use those logs to make money off their users. That's basically why you want to make sure that they are good encryption and they don't have their logs. Okay, so multi-factor authentication, like we mentioned, is that extra step in logging in and making sure that your identity is secure. And so basically it looks like this. We've all been email or text messaged an SMS code, like a code that's sent to your phone via text message. I think that's probably the most common, but it's also the least secure, because people can do what's called a SIM swap, and they can essentially spoof your phone number and then get an SMS code to that number and then get access to your account. It's pretty involved and probably not something that's going to happen to you, but I have heard it happen to somebody pretty locally. So I thought just we should mention it. And authenticator apps. So this is probably the most common, I think, basically where you have to install either Microsoft Authenticator or Google Authentication on your phone, your mobile device, and then it will approve your identity whenever you log in. I think Apple devices have it built in now. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
And this would be like Face ID too, is like an authenticator. It's proving your identity. I always forget about Face ID. That's pretty common these days in most Apple devices.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the best rule here is to go with something that you're comfortable with, that kind of meets your needs. And I personally go for one-stop shop. I don't like having multiple multi-factor authentication methods for various different software. For example, if I'm using the Microsoft Authenticator, I want to put all of my software in that so that I don't have to have the Microsoft, the Apple, the Google, an additional one here and there kind of thing, right? Just for my own simplicity. Some people might like to spread them out, but it's kind of whatever works best for you. But you'll find one that works best for you, or you might be told by your company or other places, these are the ones that we use, and that might make the choice for you.
Yeah, your workplace might require Microsoft, and then all of your personal stuff, you might use the built-in Apple Authenticator. And so the third feature, which isn't necessarily used that often, but it is used in, I think, like healthcare, where they use hardware tokens, where you have to
And you can still get them.
Yeah, you can purchase them.
They're just less
common.
You see them less. Yeah, because they're an additional cost, and most people have now moved to using their smartphones instead.
That's right. But it would be basically like a little keychain that has a number on it, and that number cycles every 30 seconds. And then that's you proving that you are who you are because you have that physical hardware token in your hand. So basically it's just an extra layer of security. So we mentioned the Microsoft Authenticator. This one is probably used, I would think, the most with like organizations, like workplaces, those types of things, because it uses all the Microsoft environment, and that's like very obviously very popular in business. And you can find that in your app store, and you can also add things to it, like Mike mentioned. You can add your I think Facebook account, your Outlook, Amazon, all those, and set up the authenticator through that one. Google Authenticator, same thing. They basically all function pretty similarly. And this one, you can add your Facebook, Snapchat, your social media apps to it. And basically it's just, they ask you for a code, you enter the code in, and then it lets you in. You'll be very familiar with this if you have an Android phone, because it's built in, and it's what I think Android uses by default. Mm-hmm. And then Apple, it is its own built-in authentication with iOS 15. I think that came out last year, 2 years ago. So
it's quite a few. Yeah, I believe the current iOS is 17 at this current point.
At least 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one is on most devices. 18. Okay. Yes, on most devices that you have, unless your phone is quite old, and it should work pretty seamlessly. So a couple things to consider when you do set up the MFA, regardless of what app you're using, if it's Microsoft or Google or Apple, it will give you recovery codes to get back into your account if you lose your phone. And so it's a really good idea to screenshot those codes and save it to a OneDrive or a Google Drive, or save it somewhere off of your phone so you can recover it. Just in case you drop your phone in the toilet or it flies out of your vehicle through the window and you don't have access to your device. If you are aware you're going to get an upgrade or a new device, you can actually do the swap pretty easily. You can just go into and it'll migrate. And there's a whole process where you can move your MFA from one device to another as long as you have both devices. And it's way easier than having to use the codes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't want to be in a position where you're on a new device and the MFA has locked you out because you haven't transferred over. So
yes,
take some time to make sure that you do that correctly.
Yeah, it can be very painful. So in conclusion, MFA stops 99% of attacks. It doesn't stop all of them. If somebody wants to get your account, there's no stopping them. They're going to try and try, but this will stop 99% of just lowest common denominator password attacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And be safe out there.
Yeah, be safe.
It's your information. You got to be protecting it.
That is right. Okay. Thanks for coming, everybody. Have a good day.
Have a good one.
Bye.